AITA for suing my ex and her boyfriend. My ex and I divorced 3 years ago. She was cheating, but at this point I don't care about the relationship anymore. The pending lawsuit has nothing to do with her or him, but rather their actions. My ex and I have a son 13 meters that we split time with 50-50. He's a great kid that interests have changed a lot tbh, as I imagine more kids/teenagers tend to do through the years. One thing my son was heavily into at some point was Legos. He used to play with them all the time, and personally I think they're a great toy for different reasons. I used to love playing them with him, and to this day I still collect boxes that I leave unopened as a collection. Well, when my ex and I divorced, she got with someone who loved Legos more, I guess. From what I know, he loves making creations and building the sets in. I don't care. Seems cool. He does one thing I think is very weird. He uses crazy glue so the sets can't break or pieces can't be lost. It seems so weird to me. The issue is, I was out of town for all of 3 days last week for medical reasons, and my son wanted to get his PS4 so he could play it at his mom's. This isn't out of the ordinary at all, and he has a key, so he let me know he would be stopping over for it. I told him to have fun when I saw him on the entry camera. My wife's husband was with him, which was a no-no. I told him via speaker to not go in and to wait on the porch. He flinched but walked in anyway. I sent my ex a text telling her to call him and tell him he's 1 minute away from a cop call. He left my home with a bag in hand, which I didn't think much of because my son had his games too. Well, my son texted me later that evening and said he didn't know it at the time, but he's pretty sure SD took some of my sets. These are all old sets and 2 are worth big money. When I got home I confirmed the missing sets and called my ex. She had no idea, but he admired he took them, but it was so son could have the sets to complete his collection. My son doesn't even like Legos anymore and told his mom he wouldn't steal from me. My wife asked how much it would cost to replace them, and unfortunately it's more than their savings. Actually, it would take their house down payment plus more. I told them if they didn't pay in 2 weeks I was suing and pressing charges. The price in the sets makes it a felony. My ex and her husband are saving for a house which would give my son more space when he's there, but those sets were going help pay for his education someday or a home of his own. I filed a police report and have talked to a lawyer, and we're moving forward with the suit. Everyone is calling me a joke because they are just toys, but I don't get it. They are worth real money. I'm not rich, guys. I needed those to help with my son's future. But again, taking this money does deny my son things at his mom's house. AITA here? Edit. I've been asked to add these facts. The sets have been opened, which more than half their worth, and one was glued together. The damage was done already. The stolen items are King's Castle Milk Truck Legoland Train Carousel, and the glued one was a Star Wars Snowspeeder. Some of these are one piece of a larger set. So if you lose one of 5, you lose the value of one produced plus the value of the set as a whole. Second edit. Ex-wife and boyfriend are the same as ex-boyfriend. I'm just a bad writer. Third/final edit for this post. I know I haven't been here much, but I have read many of your comments and taken them to heart. I know my spelling is poor, guys, and I apologize for the format. Calling me names in my private message was not called for, and I am not a scalper. I enjoy buying these sets and do not intend to sell all of them. But I want my son to go to college and not worry about debt, so I want to sell the ones that I can to help. I never had the smarts for higher education, but my son is not me, and I love him and want him to do better. Around 4 p.m. I called the local state police and met at their facility. I gave them all I had and gave my statement. My son is with me starting tonight, so when I picked him up I sent him into GameStop and called his mom. I told her I had filed charges and I asked the cop to call me when everything was done so I could give him the opportunity to turn himself in. I wanted to be better than he treated me. I'll save her reaction for a real update. BTW, can someone please tell me how to update, because I don't really understand the steps in the main notes. I told my son when we got home what I did and why. My son said that I did the right thing because he didn't want his stepdad to think it was okay to do it again, and if he didn't go to jail he'd rather be her away from him, so it isn't weird. NTA, make sure you download the clip of you telling him not to enter your house. And notes of what your son said. I hate this phrase, but don't do the crime if you can't do the time comes to mind. You're not doing this to them. Him stealing is what caused his situation. Already done. I also have texts between him, my ex, and my son as a witness to it all. To me that's the worst of it. I don't like putting my son in the middle of it, but I guess he's at an age where he can see what happens when you break laws. Yeah, I have the video, texts, and my son saw the sets later in the evening at their home. Lol, a grown-ass man stealing expensive toys from GF's ex house, knowing there is a camera. What did he think would happen? Your ex picked a real winner. NTA. Also, if they need more space for your son, they can clear the basement off the glued together sets. Voila, problem solved. NTA, replace Legos with jewelry and everyone would call it a felony. That's exactly what he did. He robbed you and should face the consequences. As you point out, these actions have consequences beyond just the Legos. They were going to help fund your son's education. Make sure your son knows why you are doing this in case his mom tries to twist the story. As for denying things at his mom's house, it might be a good idea to deny him the shitty role model his stepdad seems to be. Wait, so someone who you didn't want in your house entered your house and then took something from you? How are you anything but NTA? They are arguing that I'm denying our son a bigger living space while she has him. This is actually true. Well, not be denying it, but it would take all their savings for our house and they'd still fall short. AITA for pressing charges when my stepson took something my daughter inherited from her mother. I am 47, been with my wife for 2 years. She has a 21-year-old son. I have a 14-year-old daughter from my previous marriage. My late wife passed away in 2014. She left a few things for our daughter, including a gold jewelry set. Her mom was devastated she didn't get to gift the set to our daughter on her wedding day. I keep it in my closet since it's expensive and my daughter is too young to have it. I'll hopefully gift it to her on her wedding. Last week, we were sitting in the kitchen when my stepson was hesitant to ask me something. We're in good terms but have our fair share of arguments. He said his fiancée was taking something from his mother's and my closet. Saw the jewelry set and liked it very much. He asked if he could borrow it so his fiancée can wear it at her cousin's wedding. I found this unacceptable. I told him his fiancée had no business being in the bedroom and that the jewelry isn't mine. It's for my daughter. He asked me if my daughter will agree to let him borrow it if he talked to her. Told him not to even talk about it again. He got all pissed and said things I do not remember. Saturday night, when he and his fiancée were at the wedding, I discovered that the jewelry set was gone. I told my wife and we looked all over the house. I called my stepson to tell him about calling the police because I really thought someone stole the set. He said there was no need, that he borrowed it and will return it after they get back from the wedding. I yelled at him and told him to come back with it right then. I kept calling him till 12 a.m. when he told me to stop calling and that he'd bring it in the morning. I couldn't sleep that night. I felt terrible. In the morning he showed up at 10 a.m. He didn't bring it and started stalling, saying he forgot he'd bring it the next day. At this point it was clear he gifted it to his fiancée and was stalling. I got so mad I told him I will be pressing charges if he doesn't return the set today. We got into an argument. My wife said his fiancée was the one who wanted the jewelry set, but he was the one who took it and it's not even mine, it's my daughter's, which made it worse because I'm responsible for whatever happens to it. His grandparents berated me after I told them this and got mad and defended him when I said that I will be pressing charges. He stole and needed to be responsible for his actions. He didn't respond to my final calls, so now I've given him one last chance and it's over. I pressed charges today. They're saying calling the police was extreme and cruel. They're all convincing me to back down. AITA for pressing charges? He was replying to me sarcastically when I said I'd get the authorities involved and he didn't take me seriously. His mom said she'd try to talk to him but I had enough of him stalling, hoping I'll just let it go so he can make his fiancée happy. I feel like an irresponsible idiot. I can't even look at my daughter without feeling frustrated and infuriated. I'm hurt, but what's worse is that this is my daughter's property that I couldn't take care of. My wife allows them into the room, although I told her not to several times. They're not kids and there should be some boundaries. I just needed to mention that we're in Europe. NTA, You gave the son every opportunity to return the jewelry. Let the cops sort out the culpability of son and fiancé and get a safe deposit box. Moms and the grandparents' attitudes show that this isn't going to be the last thing that goes missing. I'd be considering a safe deposit box and a lawyer. The fact that she wasn't calling him to return it immediately would be enough in my eyes. NTA, he stole your dead wife's heirlooms that were meant for your daughter. NTA. Also, tell the police the name of his fiancée so they can recover the jewelry. I personally would have contacted the fiancée first and directly. I is 21 and old enough to know better. Let the fiancée know she was gifted a stolen heirloom for his daughter's wedding day directly. Maybe she won't care, she's marrying the asshole after all. But I have a feeling the husband didn't tell her the truth behind the jewelry either. Edit, first as in after realizing the son wasn't going to budge. NTA. They stole precious heirlooms from your daughter from her dead mother. Press the charges, tell the police the fiancé's name. Do not back down. As for the grandparents and people opposing you, ask them how they feel if someone stole their dead spouse's thing from you. They're heartless. Update us when you get the jewelry back. Edit, leave the jewelry set with a trusted family member. It's not longer safe in that house. Update us when you get the jewelry back. Please do. AITA for refusing to cover my eye when a parent insisted I do so on the bus. Hello. This happened yesterday and I keep thinking about it, not really knowing whether I handled the situation properly. A 29 male had an accident at work which resulted in my left eye becoming damaged. I wear an eye patch in public, especially when using public transportation. Though I hate public transportation because I meet people who tend to be openly disrespectful and mean. However, when I use the bus and when there's kids on it who approach me all the time and ask if I'm actually a pirate, I try to cheer them up, make a fool of myself and talk like a pirate and say things like "Courage or ahoy or matey" and have fun. They greet me before getting off the bus and I playfully reply by saying "I'm James Hook, nice to meet you." I can't remember how many little friends I made so far. They're many, which I think is cool. I never really thought anything positive would come out of this situation, but I was wrong. Now the issue, my eye has been itching all week. I use an ointment and the doctor told me to not cover it all the time. So yesterday I didn't put on my eye patch. I need to mention that my left eye's almost closed. I have no control over it. It's been like this since the accident. So it's not like it looked terrifying or anything. Anyway, a 40-something dad gets on the bus with his son and gives me weird looks. Then he started huffing and puffing. I paid him no attention. I just remained in my seat. He then asked me if I had something to cover my eye with because he thought it was making his son uncomfortable. I ignored him, but he kept asking me annoying questions hinting that any injured eye needs to be covered, especially in public. I put up with it as long as I could. He raised his voice demanding I either cover my eye or get off the bus because at that point not only was I making his son uncomfortable but him and everybody else as well, according to him. I lashed out at him and told him to stop being a fucking jerk and told him to get out of my face if he felt uncomfortable looking at my eye. Everyone was staring at me. That's when I thought I might have said something wrong. Those remaining 15 minutes felt like an eternity. That set the tone for the rest of the day. I felt awful and couldn't focus on work.